So how are you today?
Don't know yet. All right, I think. I hope. How about you all?
On the road today.
Outstanding, thank you.
Oh, you guys are way ahead of me. I'm feeling pretty good though. You know, a little bit cold. I don't know about where you guys are, but it's a little bit cold here.
A little crisp.
Yeah, I think it got down in the 20s last night here. Let's see. I'm trying to And it goes to 7:30. All right, sorry, just take me a second here to get my act together. Okay. Alert. Before. Okay. There we go. All right. Hopefully, everyone's doing all right.
High band of excellence.
Damn, Ray, what the hell are you drinking? Drinking something
Need
good.
more coffee.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for coming. And we're going to see the second part of this how to launch a campaign that we started on yesterday. It will also be, I'm recording it to YouTube as well, so you can look at it later. For those of you who may have missed it, this particular group kind of focuses their efforts on small farms, and they make e-commerce software for small farms. So that's kind of their orientation. But the interesting part of it is they are 7 brothers who all work on the same farm, and the farm supports all 7 of them, all of whom are married and have kids. So it's really quite a feat. It's in rural Indiana. But I think a lot of what they talk about is very much applicable to anybody trying to grow their business online. So that's why I really like it. So even though there'll be a lot of stuff about a little farm, I think if you to your product or service, or what they're talking about, it'll make a lot of sense, I think. And also, if anybody has any questions or thoughts, don't hesitate. We can pause at any time. So here we go. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, I don't think I did that right. One more time here.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Yeah, now it works. All right.
Also, a story is just related to the season of the year where a customer's mindset is. For example, you got to meet the customer where they are. How else are they being marketed to? The best example for here is in the summer. Seven Sons doesn't have, as an example, they don't have an abundance of beef in July, but people are thinking a lot about grilling out, swimming, parties in the sunshine, going to the park and grilling. So we offer a summer grill out special. This time of year, Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, the commercials I see on TV are about planting flowers or spring cleaning. We're just doing the same thing as it relates to providing food. Lent and seafood savings. By the way, if you have seafood in your collection or in a store collection right now, send an email the next time you send a newsletter and say, hey, it's Lent. We know that more people, or you may be interested in consuming more fish. We have maybe say take a certain percentage off, or you can put a 4 or 5 pack if you use the Grace Cart product variant to say, hey, there's a special deal on it. We'll have that for the next few weeks. Just another little tip, not related to a launch, but just again, thinking where people are, give them a reason to participate in buying from you. Healthy foods focus in January is another example. End of season grilling sale. We did that last September at Seven Sons. We had a little bit of abundance left over from the summer. So we put together a special box or a special sale for that. And then Black Friday, which we've never really had a ton of success with, but I know that clearly people get to be Black Friday. They're like, hey, I need to spend money. All right. So anyhow, so some examples of this story, again, Eileen at Ramstead Ranch doing a great job right now with the Amazing Grazing grass-fed beef sale. This is the story she's now telling and offering a couple different kinds of bundles and a la carte savings related to the timing of the year. Again, just kind of gave this example, but the summer cookout sale, we curate a special summer barbecue box, and the story we told there is that, hey, this is all the brothers' favorite things put into one box. When we get together as a large family, we have a lot of these products, we
Just take a second here. So what you're seeing here are really custom assortments of products or custom bundles that may be different from your regular offerings. And they're attempting to be relevant to the time of year. In this particular case, it's related to grass-fed beef. But the concept of having things that are only available, we've talked about that in the context of live stream commerce, but it also works in this kind of approach, which is really primarily an email-driven promotion. But special bundles and packages create scarcity, which otherwise would not exist with a lot of your products. People aren't as we talked about yesterday, they're not in a situation where there's, 3 shirts available and only 3 sizes. You better buy it or the shirt's going to be gone forever. That's the key to a lot of clothing boutiques and retailers. It's true with jewelry and a lot of other things. So to create bundles or packages that are of limited time or could potentially be viewed as scarce, it's just good buyer psychology, and I'm going to say seller psychology also. So keep that in mind.
curate a special box that you may like as well. So again, it's just a story, which helps to communicate and connect with the customer. Last but not least, this is Lilac Hedge Farm in Massachusetts. They sell a ton of chicken. Last May, they did a spring chicken stock up sale, wildly successful. Went through the same process of telling the story that we have our first batch of chicks, or our first fresh chicken, get it while it's the freshest it's going to be. And it just made sense from the story perspective. So again, hopefully that makes sense. But again, what I would ask you now is, what story will you tell? What kind of story makes sense? Is it based upon the focus you initially had written down a few minutes ago? What story relates to that? Is it just a seasonal, like grill out type item? Is it a winter? You have a significant amount of processed product that you want to move because it makes sense. What is the story you will tell? Okay, so take just a minute, and then to give you a minute to kind of write some things down. And then also I didn't really talk about this too much, but I think it's imperative that you really name and brand your event. I told Eileen at Ramstead, she's like the top of namers. She had the Wing Dinger chicken sale last year. I mean, how can you not want to participate in that? The Amazing Grazing grass-fed beef sale, man. Wild for Seafood is a fun one. It's something that's different. It's not 10% off seafood. I mean, there's a big difference, right? So I'll stop talking for just a minute, grab a drink of water, and give you about 15 to 20 seconds, and we'll move on, because I think we've got a lot to cover still. Hopefully this is hitting the mark so far. Okay. Next. Now we're going to talk about, now that we have your focus of what the product you want to sell, we have kind of what story you're going to tell. Now I want to talk about the offer, okay? Now, when I say multi-tier, and again, next training, I'm going to show you how to build a sales page, okay, using GraceCart. But when you think of a multi-tier offer, it's not sending somebody to your store on your GraceCart site or to a collection. It's an actual content page, like your home page or your about page, that we're going to build. And how you want to envision this is we're going to kind of dump your customers, point your customers to your sales page, and we're going to walk them through a series of things they should consider buying, right? So the main offer is what you position at the top. It's the star of the show, right? So if you follow the Seven Sons, I know many people have here, the winter beef sale, like we make a big deal, have historically, out of the 8th beef box. We have a big, huge photo introducing the 2022 8th beef box, new updated, big, amazing picture. And it's the star of the show. Okay. Now it should be a 2 to 3 step offer. What I mean by that, and let me just share the screen in a second. It means that there's option 1, option 2, which is a little bit bigger, and option 3, which is even bigger yet. And do you really need 2 to 3 steps? Almost always yes. There's one example where I can say no, but almost always yes. Some examples here, as I mentioned, eighth beef, fourth beef, half beef, and then another example, Pitmaster's grill box, and then the Pitmaster grill box times 2, just double the amount. So why this is important, okay, is that it's the psychology around the pricing. For one thing, is if I'm a new customer, it's going to be really hard for me if the only bundle you offer is this huge bundle. I don't really know you yet. I kind of trust you, but maybe I don't fully trust you. This is a hard ask for me. This is a much easier ask. Okay. So, but for your loyal customers who love everything you do, this is on the table. So you kind of you're speaking to both customers in that range. Plus the psychology behind seeing these numbers of $29 savings, it escalates, it gets more, it's going to draw people to consider one of these higher priced items. So you're increasing your average order value. Last but not least, if you just put this on the page by itself, you may have folks that even at $157 say, I'm not sure that's too much. But because you have these other prices on the page, it makes this look more affordable. It's just the psychology of how your brain works. And if you've ever been a part of a product launch for an information product, the same thing they do the same thing here, okay? Ultimately, it's about having a variety for the different kind of customers or different kind of email subscribers that are visiting your page. So I would at least encourage you to have 2, because really it could be very unlikely that somebody buys the second one. Somebody probably will, which bonus, but the sole purpose is to increase the visual affordability, or to make the first option look like a more attractive offer. I can't overstate that enough. Very important. Okay. As far as what's included in your main offer, I would recommend that it's staple heavy, or things that's a mix of high perceived value cuts. If you're selling protein products, mix of grounds and customer favorites. So sirloin steaks, ground beef. If you have some flavored ground beef patties, if you have a roast, things that people use all the time, there's no question that I know how to cook it. That's one thing. For chicken, chicken breasts, chicken thighs, a whole chicken, a mix, a variety of things, but not chicken backs. Do not try to sneak in an item to unload it from your inventory, because it will crush your conversions. We all know if you sell chicken, you've got a semi-load of chicken backs, right? They're not for your bundle, okay? Or if you have, someone I just worked with recently, we initially had a brisket in the main offer. I challenged them on the brisket because, not that I don't love brisket, I love burn ends, but it's just, I don't have a smoker. I'm not sure how to prepare it. It makes up a huge amount of value in the box, which drives the price up. Sometimes you get a good brisket, sometimes you get a bad one. So we played it safe and we went with a more staple heavy, I know how to cook this, high confidence, so it's easier for people to say yes. Next, ideally, step 1, meet your free delivery, and I'll talk about opening week and freebies in a minute, your free delivery threshold. If you have free delivery, I know a lot of people do it at $149. Make sure you meet that, because it only helps you to tell the story of, if you buy this, you actually already qualify for free delivery. So without a doubt, make it qualify for free delivery if you have that step. Okay. Hit your margin goals to run a profitable sale, which again, Blaine's going to talk a little bit more about that, but it's super important. I want you to be a profitable operation. So be firm on that over time, get your prices to where you need to be so you can build in and offer a great value. So here's an awesome box. Okay. Again, I keep bragging on Eileen because she's freaking amazing, but she takes great pictures. And this was a staple box, the Amazing Grazing Grass-Fed Beef box. Incredible photo. I get this, and 2 New York strip steaks, 2 bone-in ribeyes, a fajita meat. I know in her unboxing video, she drove home how convenient this thinly sliced fajita meat was, a top round roast that's a nice size, convenience of already prepared hamburger patties, high perceived value there, and then versatile ground beef that everybody knows what to do with. So again, great option. I would feel comfortable preparing all those things in a great photo to boot. That's just an example of maybe what you might consider on that main offer. Last slide here on main offer and more on pricing. Now, if you have a bulk, I want to separate like a bulk meat sale where, like, for example, Seven Sons has the 8th beef box, and that's what, around $400 or so, I think it was in the last winter beef sale. I want to put those on the side for a minute, and I want to talk about more of a more curated box that's a little bit smaller price point, kind of like that amazing grazing grass-fed beef box I just showed. Be careful that, you got to know, Dave Ramsey says that anytime, someone, a purchase gets over $300, it's part of like their policy and protocol with his wife that they have to talk about it. So at what point does a purchase become a two-person decision? Is it $200, $250, $300? Also, as I kind of alluded to earlier, at what price point is more likely to convert a new customer to buy from the first time is in the $149 to $199 range. I actually try not to do anything less than $149. I set the bar where we want to meet it. And I would encourage people to get above $59, $99 and start selling at $140, because you can absolutely do that. That's a sweet spot that's going to convert new customers. You're going to reactivate old customers. And again, when you have a multi-step option, you're going to have some of your more seasoned customers who will want a better value. They're going to buy more from you anyhow, right? So as far as bulk options, as long as you have a great value, if it's $400, great. If you can show like $100 in savings or $80 in savings, and it's a one time of year you can get that box, or it's the best price of year for that box, you'll sell that. And there was 600 plus 8th beef boxes from this last year with Seven Sons winter beef sale. And it's because how it's been positioned, and it's a great value. And it's made up of all things that people enjoy. And lastly, I would show at least a $20 savings from retail. If I go back a few slides, at a bare minimum, if it's around $150, $20, at a bare minimum is what I would propose to just try to get my attention. Anything less than $10, not very compelling. So try to get to that point, okay? Multi-packs, so that's tier one, okay? Multi-packs, keep in mind, not everyone will want to buy your $400 or $500 8th beef box, or your $800 quarter beef box, or your $400 fourth of a flock chicken box. Okay, they just won't, especially new customers. But you do have other options that you can offer another tier to that they may consider. So maybe they hit your page like, oh no, I don't really know these people, I'm going to pass on that. But what's this? Okay, that's where tier two comes in, multi-packs. So it's perfect for staples where you have sufficient inventory. Just to kind of skip ahead a minute, here's what I mean by multi-pack. Here's a couple of options, okay? So ground beef, you can sell, this was what, we had a 10-pack this past year, I believe, too. This was from 2021. I didn't have a good picture from 2022, but we had a 10-pack of ground beef. It was like, I don't know, 80 or 90 bucks, I think. A 20-pack of ground beef, 40-pack, people will buy this. Again, same thing from a comparison standpoint. If I see 20 and 40-pack here, even though this is a lot of, not a lot of people can maybe fit 40 pounds of ground beef in their freezer, it helps to justify this price and get people more interested in the 20. Okay. Also, we did a 12-pack of Delmonico's back then. So that's one option, okay, is to do some multi-packs at higher volume. Okay. That's higher volume, 20, 10 or 20, 40, and then a lot of those steaks. Another thing you can consider is using the product variant feature in Grace Cart and offering 4 and 5 packs of items like sirloins or New York strips or chicken breasts or bone-in chicken thighs or whatever it is, bacon, okay, whatever it is. And if you already offer them in your store, just still offer them on your multi-pack, but at a quantity of 4 or 5, but just offer a little bit more aggressive savings for the period of your launch. So it doesn't just have to be about loading people up with a huge pack of ground beef or 10 or 12 or 20 pack of steaks. You can do multi-packs of 4 and 5 steaks. And the cool thing about that is, whereas the bigger purchase of the 20 packs of ground beef for 40 might be someone's whole purchase, the 4 or 5 packs can act to raise your average order value. So maybe they did tick up and purchase the main offer. Then they say, you know what, I think I want 4 of these steaks as well. But it's going to be really unlikely for them to say, you know what, I already got this 1/8 of beef. I think I want 40 more pounds or 20 more pounds of ground beef. But you can increase your average order value by more if you have 4 or 5 packs. Okay. Make sure not to compete with your main offer. The 40 pack of ground beef, even though it's in a similar price point in that last example of what, $300, or I forget what it was, if I was comparing it to an 1/8 of a beef box, they're really totally different types of products. But just be aware, don't have your customer thinking, well, which of these should I get? What's the better value? Which one makes sense for me? I'd recommend to have 3 or 4 options on your multi-packs. Okay. All right. Here's another example. This is Lilac Hedge Farm during I think a summer grill out event. This was to the point I mentioned earlier. These are 20% off these 5 packs, I think, which were not available prior to this sale. So they were a new offering. Hey, we've got a new 5 pack. It's a 20% off for the course of the next 10 days. And you can see this is a quantity and a type of product that I could add to an already $200+ order and probably be okay with that. Okay. Next. A la carte add-ons. These are the onesies and twosies where I can add 1 item, 2 items, but it's not multi-packs. Again, don't compete with your main offer by having 8 to 10 items that people can buy onesies and twosies of at a nice discount, and essentially have people building their own bundle. Okay. Try to just have it to where there's a couple of items to try to increase your average order value. Maybe to introduce a new product. I know Lilac Hedge Farm getting ready to do a chicken sale. They're introducing turkey bacon, and they have it as an a la carte add-on for introductory price during their launch. Okay. You might consider doing quantity limits of 2 to 4 items, 2 to 4 of each item. For one, if these items that are a la carte are also tied into your inventory for your main products, you don't want to have someone come in and say, you know what, I absolutely love bacon. I'm going to buy 40 of them, and then wipe out your inventory that's tied to your main bundle for pork. Okay. So just be careful of that. And the other thing is that if you say, quantity limit, if you can only buy 2 or you can only buy 4, then some people will think, well, I should probably buy the most I should buy. Right. So quantity limits are motivating, and they also can protect you from running out of your main item. Okay. Don't run yourself out of stock. I've already mentioned that. Okay. 1 sec here. Okay. Last here, I think I then move on to, actually there's one more tier. Okay. A la carte add-ons. Last thing, again, consider, this is something we've tested as well. Consider offering really steep discounts of maybe 25 to 30% on items you may have, again, if it makes sense financially for you with your margins, on items you have a ton of abundance on, but only if the buyer hits a certain order minimum. So they could be there, but they only qualify to add 3 of those to their cart, or buy one, get one free, essentially, if they have an order size of $99 or something like that. That's something that we've tried. Again, as I mentioned, the goal here is to increase your cart size and provide a value on items that aren't necessarily included in any other offer. It just adds another level of something for someone to consider. And then I would not go more than 6 options. Too much choice will kill conversions, just like too much text in an email will. And here's an example of a la carte savings, limit of 4. Here's a few different options in this sale. Okay. All right. Cue the dog bark probably here. No, not yet. Okay. All right. So last but not least is to give someone a free item incentive. Okay. So from my experience, this is a massive revenue driver and a conversion driver. What I mean here is choose 1 item that you can feature that people get for free when they meet an order minimum. For example, all new gourmet blend beef burgers, add to your cart for free when they reach an order of $149. So keep in mind that the more things you can stack on your offer, so maybe you have a box that's $149 that qualifies for free delivery and a free gourmet blend burger. That's just more things that people are saying yes to. It's hard to say no to free product and to free delivery, especially if the items in the box are things they envision themselves using. Okay, you could use, we typically have done that for like opening weekend or opening day. We've called it a day one deal, but that's something that, moves forward, this kicks the sale off right. Now, I'm going to take a breath. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop talking. I don't know, Brooks, if there's anything that's come up in the chat, or if there's anything that you have, or anybody, Blaine, you want to chime in, but let's try to keep this to about 2 minutes while people are writing down, okay, what's my potential main offer, or what's a multi-pack, or at least set yourself up to fill out those parts of your launch. I don't know, Blaine or Brooks, if you have any color to add to anything here.
The big thing I would share is, Chad, you gave examples there of kind of where are those recommended thresholds to avoid decision fatigue, because that is a real thing. So, putting these offers together in the different tiers to where it's pretty clear for how the customer, what's their best option to save is important. And then to just, again, not go over some of those tiers that Chad had mentioned when it comes to just really expanding up this sales page with tons and tons of offers, because if you confuse, you lose, and that customer who doesn't make a decision, Chad, you said on our podcast before, customer doesn't make a decision is a zero sale every single time. So.
Correct. Yep. Very good. I know there's questions coming in. For the sake of getting through the content, we will address what we can in our Q&A, just so we can keep rolling along here. So stick with me here. We're going to go into the second part of our training and go from there. Okay, so that's your offer structure. So actually, Blaine, looks like this is where you kind of hop in and see if there's anything that you'd like to kind of go through over a period of a few minutes. I know we talked earlier today, and there were some questions you have received about margin. You introduced part of that earlier. If it's possible for you to kind of hop on and share some tips, that'd be great.
Yeah, I wanted to go to a question real quick from Walnut Lane Farms. Someone said they're a little confused. Are all of these different tiered offers available at the same time? And the answer is yes. It's one long sales page. It starts with that. I think you call it the all-star offer, Chad. And then we may have some of those value bundles and then those a la carte add-ons. So it's just literally a page. And that's something you really don't get with any other shopping cart solution or e-commerce system. GraceCart has the content management system built into the e-commerce. So you literally build a sales page and add those offers right in. It's easy. Chad's going to explain how to do that on the next training, but that's part of the magic. I'm going to refer to Brooks because Brooks is a little bit more familiar with our margin goals. But you've heard a lot about promotions and pricing. Again, I talked earlier, we're really just matching a holistic pricing strategy throughout the year. And so we're not discounting our margin, we're discounting our price, but our margin is already planned into our overall promotion plan for the year. And you can do that too. It's not that complex. Brooks, do you want to touch on just a couple of kind of the margin goals that we have and where our margin actually falls during a sale?
Yeah, I wrote down just a few notes to kind of, if I was, listening to this call for the first time, it would be helpful to have a few guidelines. So just from our experience, what we've done when it comes to really, once we've implemented the strategy and just kind of learning, we've made several goals around where we want our margin to be at the end of the year. So basically what we do when we're planning to prepare to give this room for promotions through this 12-month promotion cycle throughout a year, when we set our retail prices, we're shooting for a 43 to 45% margin on full retail. So if the product was sold outside of a sale at its full retail price, it's not in a launch, that's what we're shooting for when it comes to our full retail margin. What actually happens then is by the end of the year, once we go through these launch periods, that will net out and we will average around a 39% margin at the end of the year. So we're leaving that room and that buffer to basically put a plan together up front to make sure that we have that room to give incentives, real incentives for our customers to buy during seasonal times where it makes the most sense. And maybe we have even some cost savings there. So it actually could help some margin to participate during that time period. And that's what this whole strategy really is about at the end of the day. So just to make sure we're on the same page, in case some of you might have the question, when I'm referring to margin, I'm talking about what we're including in there is basically from a cost standpoint is our cost of goods sold. So the cost we have in purchasing the raw product, processing and the meat processing fee from our butcher shop and fabricator. We put in freight into that, packaging, and then our credit card processing fee. So really anything that I refer to as an input cost that basically is a cost that goes into every single pound of product that we sell that's consistent. So those are kind of how we plan our margin. I know everyone does a little bit different. So hopefully you kind of made some notes on some of that, and I can throw that in the chat too, Chad, as you continue to roll into the slides.
Perfect. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Okay, next. So we've crossed through the first main component of tonight's training with kind of getting an offer and the story we're going to tell about that offer so it can resonate with your customers. Now I want to kind of start to talk about, all right, how am I going to sequence this out? Okay, so this is really even leading to the next training as well, but we're going to select some launch date and go over some considerations. But one thing just to be clear, at a minimum from tonight, you're 1 month away from opening a sale at a minimum. Okay. So let me kind of explain why. There's considerations that we're going to talk through. What impact or what buy-in do we need with operations, fulfillment? Where's your inventory at? Got to be solid on inventory, right? Who are key partners you have to coordinate with? What's the calendar look like in the next quarter for Q2? What content needs to be created and when's it going to be delivered? What marketing assets do I need to create? Emails I have to write, videos to produce, sales pages, and then ultimately, where does the sale open and close date fit in to where it makes sense for all the considerations we're going to walk through. So let's kind of spend a little bit more time on these. So so you've got your product that you've written down your piece of paper that you think you want to do a launch for. Is there any legwork that you need to pull together to be really solid on inventory for your offer? Because you've got to be rock solid. So if you are producing a launch, the product really needs to be where it needs to be for you to send out the door. Don't start a launch and say, well, I'm getting it from my processor. Everything's going to work out great, because what you don't want to have happen is an unfulfilled promise. So only start your launch and open it and get your emails rolling and be ready to be sent when you can absolutely fulfill and you have your product and it's where you need to be. Super, super important. Okay. Do you need to coordinate with any partners? I know some folks have will have a bundle that comes directly in a box from a processor to their frozen storage or whatever they have on the farm. Is there any coordination that needs to happen with a partner? Product photos are great or need to be great. If you can take them yourself, wonderful, as long as they're great. Okay. Do you have to get a photographer to coordinate that? Again, all these things you want to have lined up and secured before you're pulling the trigger to start, open the cart. Everything's going to be done before you get started. Processor, is there any processing discussions need to be had? And are there any key team members that you have to coordinate with? Social media person, marketing person. If you wear the hat for all those and it's a bad time of year for the year for you personally, and you have a lot of kid stuff going on, figure it out a different time to do your launch. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the calendar. As it relates to a seasonal sale, okay, so let's think of 4th of July, big, huge cookout weekend. Say it falls on a Monday, okay? So if you're promoting this as get these grilling items to prepare on 4th of July, then you want to make sure they receive it in time. So you have to plan for your customers to receive their product by a holiday. And I'm going to give you an example of that with the calendar here in just a few minutes. You want to avoid deadlines that fall near major holidays. Like you don't want to be closing a sale on Christmas or Easter just for completeness sake. I know we wouldn't do that, but you want to avoid having anything running a launch during the middle of a holiday. Pretty easy to understand. Ideally, I think you want to coordinate your open and certainly your close dates with your normal order deadlines. For Seven Sons and many folks that I've worked with, that's a Sunday. So sales typically close on Sundays, sometimes on Monday, to allow support to be able to be more engaged on that Monday. So that's a big one. I would encourage you to just use your normal order deadlines. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Seven Sons had to start spreading out launches for 2 weeks, and then have, so that some, and this has been the case with other folks I've worked with as well. If you overload and have all your orders in 1 week, there's a chance you could overload your staff, your shipping partners, and that's kind of a bad deal. I know that unintentionally, Brooks and I on a Friday night, I think in 2019, Blaine and his wife had a scheduled night away in Indianapolis, and Friday, day one of winter beef sale, we oversold Chicago. So Brooks was coordinating that on a Friday. We were coordinating that on about a Friday night, about 10 o'clock, trying to figure out how we're going to get this product out the door. We're going to open the new schedule. I forget what it was, but it was a good problem to have. It was exciting. So in that, let me just walk through an example. Okay. So this is actually April. I actually cut off Easter, I believe, but this is April of 2022. It's next month. So say that you wanted to have Easter hams. Maybe you want to do an Easter ham launch. Okay. As an example. You wanted them to have it by April 17th is down here. I believe that's Easter. Okay. So if your deadline is a Monday where everything that ships on this deadline is guaranteed to be delivered on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, then you are fine to have your cart close on this deadline day, because it will assure that they have the product in time for Easter. If it's not, okay, then if your deadline is Sunday, then you cannot have your cart close on Monday, because you will have orders for hams that get delivered after Easter. Bad deal, right? So just think through, okay, when do I need to be certain that any order that's processed will be delivered in time for whatever holiday I'm promoting to, they should be enjoying our food with their family, and work backwards from there. So here we're starting to work backwards. I know that this has to be the cart close day. It happens to be a Monday. It works out. And then if I'm going to do a 4-day launch event, then I'm going to open on Friday with a cart open email and have a 4-day launch window on the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Sorry, if you could make sure that we're muted here.
What? That's not real hot.
Brooks, or actually, let's see. 1 second.
I don't have host privileges, Chad, but I think it's Haley. If you want to mute maybe your mic, sounds like maybe there's some
There we
background
go.
noise.
Okay. Bingo. Thank you. Okay. So what we would do if Sunday is a newsletter day, okay, then I'm just continuing to work backwards. I'm going to send, hey, the sale ends on this day. Well, I'm going to say, hey, the sale is live on Friday. And I'm working backwards to say that means I would want to make the announcement on my regular Sunday newsletter day on this Friday, on this Sunday, maybe even sooner. So I'm announcing it here. Then I know that the previous Sunday, if that's my newsletter day, I'm probably talking about hams and why they're great and why you should have sugar-free hams or whatever it is. I'm just educating about hams, or maybe I'm talking about sharing your favorite Easter memory of growing up the Sunday before. So a few weeks of talking about Easter or hams or why your pasture pork is the best, something of that nature. Okay. And then, so that's kind of how we always work through launches. We work backwards to forwards. All right. So, but going the other way, I'm going to share this awesome email that's pre-launch content, maybe even one up here on the 20th of March. Then I'm going to announce, hey, I've got big news about this promotion, or I have a big promotion coming up on Friday. Make sure you check your email. It's going to have a special offer that's only going to be available for 4 days. And then we have the cart open and cart close. I hope that makes sense. This is the process that I go through to figure out when I get my cart open, when I'm sending all my pre-launch content and announcing sales. Okay. So as far as the launch content, again, we're going to talk a lot more about promoting your sale, the next training, but I don't want you to leave thinking you can just announce and do cart open and cart close. You really want to plan to have that 2, maybe even 3 weeks, at least 1 week, preferably 2 weeks of content before you open the sale, because you are essentially pre-selling and building massive anticipation, already building trust. Think of, and I've talked about this before, when the iPhones were launched, Steve Jobs was a master. He was pre-selling at the Apple event so that the day that the iPhones came on sale, there was lines around the block. People had already made the decision to buy. They were just in line. That's what we're wanting to do with these emails, is sending pre-launch content, making a big announcement, and moving from there. Other things to consider why it's at least a month before you even think about opening a sale is that you probably have a sales page to build. You have emails, again, we're talking about this next week, but you have emails to write. We're going to help you, show you examples of those emails and what some key components are. If you have a partnership with maybe a local influencer, or just you reach out to a few customers and say, hey, I'd love for you to talk about this box. I'll send you one for free. If you create an unboxing video, you need time to develop those partnerships, get product, get videos back, and so on and so forth. Or if you need other pictures that need to be created, if you need to have little logos that you can make. Again, this is there's a more simplistic version of this you can do. I'm just sharing ideas of things that have been done. Last, okay, so I've talked about the operational things we have to consider. We've talked about partnerships, processing, inventory. We've talked about the content you have to create, the marketing assets to create, okay? And again, I don't want people to be discouraged that we're not going into all that tonight, so just stick with me for the next time, okay? But I would encourage you to start with this time frame on your first launch if you've never done one. It's fewer emails to write. It's a short sequence of 4 days where people have to decide, and that's what I would recommend. There also, you could do a Friday of 1 week through the Sunday of the week that follows. And that's another way you could do a 10-day window to where you could have a little bit more email marketing that's happening. If you're the size business, or if you invest in doing any paid advertising, you could have more time to run ads if that's something that you do. So that's another option. If you're more of a seasoned veteran, that's what I would work to doing. I know that the first launch Seven Sons had done was a 6 or 7 day launch. Then they launched a farm tour, actually, that introduced them the Best of Farm box. And even their first winter beef sale was a 4-day event. So start with a 4-day event, work toward.
Okay. Sorry that's so heavy on the beef and all that, but I think the processes that they talk about are applicable to all of us. I also like the idea of perhaps bundling between some of you all with some of your products. Maybe you all could work together with a bundle that might work for a holiday session, or maybe 4th of July. I'm not quite sure the right thing, but this idea of special bundles, special groupings that have a limited time availability, I really do think will help you. And this particular group is focused on email marketing, which I think is a great, but it applies to live streaming and making offers and promotions for your live streaming. I don't know if anybody had a chance to watch the Appalachian Standard live stream last Thursday. It was more pandemonium, like I mentioned earlier. A lot of their stuff did not work, and I think they had a gazillion people on it, and they live stream to everything you can think of all at the same time. They go on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, even Twitch, if you're familiar with that, the gaming platform. It was pandemonium, but it all worked. And there's some lessons to be learned there, I think, as far as staging goes. Yesterday, I posted in our Facebook group some examples of sets that people use for their live stream, some pictures. If you get a chance to take a look at that, you may find some inspiration there as far as what their set looks like when they go live. So with all that being said, I'll open it up for questions or thoughts. Ruth, how you doing, Ruth? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well.
Yeah, I've been crazy busy with orders last week, and I didn't know, did we have class yesterday? Because I did not get a note either for or against.
Yeah, we did. I'm not quite sure why you didn't get it. Grant can look into that. We're just trying to exclude you, Ruth. You know, we're trying to keep you on the sidelines, you know.
I know you didn't want me to know how to do an offer. This was great, though. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. The one from yesterday is a little more foundational. If you get a chance to look at that on the YouTube, I think it'll be helpful also. Anyone else? Chris, how you doing, Chris?
Good. I will say that I've used this kind of strategy even for like a short term, like I just need to generate some money. So it's a shorter time frame, and like just taking special orders or pre-orders, and you know, with just maybe 2, maybe 3 emails, and it, you know, it helps. So sending out that email to your list, you know, for something short term has been helpful for me, and it's kind of just following the same strategy, only shrinking it down.
Do you have like a regular calendar schedule of promotions that you run?
Did you see me drop my head in shame?
Sorry to ask that pointed question. I already knew the answer.
You know, it's good to have goals, and that, you know, I think that's always, it's been my biggest challenge of having a calendar and planning things out.
Yeah.
So the short answer is no, but I'm working on it.
I was going to say not yet. That's right. Tomorrow we're going to have something maybe you all have thought of, or maybe you haven't, but we're going to hear about hiring a virtual assistant and how that might work. And you'd be amazed at how inexpensive it is to get a qualified virtual assistant. And this is a perfect example of how one could be used. A lot of them have expertise in running a marketing calendar and setting it up. A lot of them are overseas in the Philippines, but they are English speaking, and the cost is really, really low. But maybe I just wanted to expose you all to it and be aware of it and see how people use this tool. It's extremely common in the e-commerce space, particularly if you like Chris, for example, you know, you're involved in the production of your product or service. You know, there's just so many things that you have to do. Some of the stuff can be given to someone else who can actually do it and get it done without it costing an arm and leg. So that will be something we'll talk about tomorrow. So anyone else have any comments or thoughts? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for listening to How to Sell Meat. So now you know all about that. And but I think that the process is really what I wanted to share. And I think that you know, I think meat and grocery type stuff is a little bit different. It's something that people buy all the time, you know, on a routine basis. Maybe your product or service fits in a different category. You know, I understand that, but there's certain things that that may work. And as Chris pointed out, you know, in her case, she's done some limited, not limited, but shorter term campaigns, if you will, or email blasts, and has found that to work. So I do think there's some sound advice in this stuff. It's just a question of, you know, how it applies to your particular situation. I do like the idea. We talked about it several times, that app called Caro that works with Shopify, which enables you to find potential partners to list on your site to make sales. I do like the idea of bundling, particularly limited time bundles. I think it's a really smart way to build scarcity into your offers, that can increase the likelihood that someone will will buy it because of fear of losing out, which is a really rational method from a business perspective. So, all right. Well, thank you all for listening in, and as always, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can help in any way. And we'll see you all tomorrow.